Trav is extremely nice man. Nice is not really a good word. Extremely, just there's nobody in the world like my husband.
Okay, let me just collect my thoughts here for a second.
He's just one of this men who doesn't exist. And I'm serious about that.
When I think about what Katya means to me, I think about the family that we have created together and how much I love our children and how the four of us are really united and really love each other.
My name is Katya. I was born in Russia. My parents lived in Russia and were born in Russia. I have one sister.
My name is Travis Williams. I go by Trav. I am 49 years old. I was born in California.
I went to Russia in Ukraine because my parents moved to Ukraine when I was a teenager. So I finished high school there, even though that wasn't high school, but finished school, and then I went to college, industrial college, and get my master's degree in engineering.
I got my undergraduate degree from the California Institute of the Arts. Let's see, that was in 1986, and I studied music composition. After Katya and I were married, I went back to school. I got my graduate degree. That was in 1998, an MBA, Master of Business Administration. And this year purchased an insurance agency. I also teach some courses, some business courses for different universities as an adjunct instructor.
Now I work as a photographer because when kids were born here, I did not work and I did not bring my engineering degree on American soil. When our kids were about 10, 12 years old, I met a wedding photographer who invited me to help her out. And then a lot of people started like my photos, and I sort of started my business and learned some more, went in seminars and get some certificates and tag along with professional photographers.
I had been in Russia for about 5 months. I'd been traveling. I was serving through the Mary and Jack teaching project in Siberia. I had a contract with a record company, actually, in Russia, in the former Soviet Union. And I went to a jazz club with some friends just to hear some jazz music performed in St. Petersburg. And in the club there was an art gallery.
I was working in a jazz club, an art gallery. He spoke a little bit of Russian. I didn't speak English. And we became friends, and I invited him for tea in a couple days and into an apartment where I lived in St. Petersburg. And it was fun. I showed him around Petersburg, and then he came back to a club to see me again, and we started to, have some dates, and and then he invited me to come and visit the United States.
Katya and I had known each other for a couple months. We had spent some time visiting family here in the United States. We'd driven through Arizona, California, up to Washington State. And so she'd gotten to meet all my family and gotten to, experience American culture. And I, of course, had already experienced Russian culture.
I learned actually from Trav that to respect each other's needs and wants sometimes, and try to understand those wants, and really sort of, actually the simple answer is respect and listen, what you think about that, what you think about it. If it's completely different, let's kind of find middle ground and, have a discussion about that. All kinds of things coming along, and if people don't listen to each other, don't respect each other's, preferences, understanding, and wants, then conflicts coming, and then like, oh, fine, you go this way, I go that way. Or it could be all, united, and you want it like that, okay, it will make you happy, let's do that. Or you want it like that, let's do it, let's make it happen, sort of, I think. What do you think? You didn't even answer.
Yeah, well, I agree. I think that with any couple, I'm just sort of rephrasing what you're saying, but with any couple, there are going to be similarities between them and there are going to be differences. And it's the similarities where you have ease and positive energy, and it's with the differences that you sometimes run into challenges, right? So by focusing on what you have in common and strengthening that bond, then it's easier to recognize, okay, here's where we're different, and to just accept that and be honest and communicate about it and recognize that's how you are and this is how I am, and we'll just work out how to be okay with that and appreciate that.
When he invited me to visit his country and his family, I get excited to come to different country and see different things. And in my mind, I actually decided already that I'm going to marry that man, because why would I go to America just to visit a man? It's like, and then I come back, it's like crazy. So I didn't like that. So in my mind, I already thought, well, I'm going to marry this man. Because men sometimes think that they're proposing and they're deciding. Actually, women who's deciding, right? So we're deciding. Maybe men proposing, but women deciding.
When I decided to propose to Katya, I had an engagement ring that I had ordered. It was custom made. It was not the most valuable ring, but it meant a lot sentimentally.
My dad felt better after he met him. So like when they didn't meet him yet, they weren't sure, and kind of my dad was upset a little bit because he knew that I'll go far away. But my mom was kind of happy. Yeah, because in Russia, moms always worry about like, oh, you're 23 years old and you need to get married and you're going to be old, la la la. So she was happy. My dad was happy after he met my husband.
My parents, they were happy and excited, completely supportive. They both loved Katya from the beginning and felt that she was very charming and that we would be a great couple. So my whole family was very supportive.
Any man, any woman in any country would have differences. So we try to overcome our differences. Doesn't matter what it is, and create one happy family.
We do have a strong bond, and I think it's primarily because we accept our differences and actually appreciate our differences and see how it makes us stronger together.
Russians always were fascinated by American culture, and we listened, when I was a teenager, we listened to American music and, read magazines, even though maybe in certain time of the Soviet time it would be harder to find some information, but people find it, and nothing really shocked me when I came here at all. I mean, it seems like in that time I even thought like I knew all that. But even though America and Russia, it's very different places, but one thing I could say is it's very comfortable here. Like everything is comfortable. Everything. Like even maybe some Americans would complain on something, but to me it's everything convenient, comfortable, and that's probably difference. Because in Russia, not always convenient and not always comfortable.
One cultural difference I experienced: Russians are some of the most hospitable people that I'd ever met. They're extremely hospitable. And I had difficulty there that they would always give me more food than I could eat. Because if I said no, thank you, it didn't matter. The food just kept coming. But I eventually learned how to get around that. If I said later, I'll have some food later, then they would say, okay, well then that's fine. That was one of the big cultural challenges for me as far as living in Russia.
We do argue, everybody argue, but you know, we recognize difference of each other, and you know, and then it's cool down and everything's fine.
When we have a disagreement,
It's kind of a little bit.
we have gotten, I think, pretty good at listening to each other and sharing our feelings. For me, that was sort of the challenge. Was I would try to approach things from a position of logic, whereas Katya would approach it from a position of feelings, and I think this is common in many couples. So I had to learn to put the logic aside and share what my feelings are, and that's still very hard for me to do.
Russians very easily we use our hands. We like Italians, you know. I mean, I'm not saying Russians and Italians are the same thing, but a lot of the we yell because we like. I don't like when my husband talks monotonely, and we do have we kind of argue on that, you know, because he's saying I'm mad. I'm not mad. I'm like excited, you know, and I'm saying like you're so boring that I want to die right now. So this kind of things. But then, you know, we kind of accept each other, and he trying to be better. I'm trying to be better, and here we are. We're still here.
For me personally, my beliefs are central to my life. I really try every day to be a better person, to pray, to study, and use that to guide my life. Katya and I would say, for the most part, we share the same beliefs, but because our personalities are so different, we approach things in a different way.
Well, it is very important where a person came from originally, like from what family, and I'm probably not going to say what country because it really doesn't matter. But like, for example, Trav was born in a family that practiced religion, and you know, for him, it's a core of his life, his religion. You know, even though I did became Baha'i when I met him because I agreed with writings and everything, I came completely from different, background, and for me, it didn't come with my childhood, like. You know, I don't know, it's very hard to explain, but even though the childhood is a really short period of time of your life, but how you were raised and, you know, how you were brought up, it's kind of affects your life for later on, you know, so you cannot, even though you bring some beliefs in a later time of your life on yourself, then you still kind of cannot submerge into that for 100% of your life because it was just a short period of your time, of your life. So I can say that Trav is live as a person who constantly aware of his beliefs.